Good evening. I'm Nick Viall, and some of you may know me from The Bachelor. I'm really looking forward to reading you a sleep story tonight that will help you unwind, relax, and drift off into dreamland. The story is a classic tale of love between a prince and a princess. It's called Sleeping Beauty. Make sure you're feeling comfortable. Cozy down under the covers and take a few deep breaths. If you're ready, I shall begin. Once upon a time, there lived a king and queen who were grieved, more grieved than words could tell, because they had no children. They tried the waters of every country, made vows and pilgrimages, and did everything that could be done, but without result. At last, however, the queen found that her wishes were fulfilled, and in due course she gave birth to a daughter. A grand christening was held, and all the fairies that could be found in the realm, they numbered 7 in all, were invited to be godmothers to the little princess. This was done so that, by means of the gifts which each in turn would bestow upon her, in accordance with the fairy custom of those days, the princess might be endowed with every imaginable perfection. When the christening ceremony was over, all the company returned to the king's palace, where a great banquet was held in honor of the fairies. Places were laid for them in magnificent style, and before each was placed a solid gold box containing a spoon, fork, and knife of fine gold set with diamonds and rubies. But just as all were sitting down to table, another fairy was seen to enter, whom no one had thought to invite. The reason being that for more than 50 years, she had never left the tower in which she lived, and people had supposed her to be dead or bewitched. By the king's orders, a place was laid for her, but it was impossible to give her a golden box like the others, for only 7 had been made for the 7 fairies. The old creature believed that she was intentionally slighted, and muttered angrily under her breath. She was overheard by one of the young fairies, who was seated nearby. The latter, guessing that some mischievous gift might be bestowed upon the princess, hid behind the tapestry as soon as the company left the table. Her intention was to be the last to speak, and so to have the power of counteracting, as far as possible, any harm which the old fairy might do. Presently, the fairies began to bestow their gifts upon the princess. The youngest ordained that she might be the most beautiful person in the world. The next, that she should have the temper of an angel. The third, that she should do everything with wonderful grace. The fourth, that she should dance to perfection. The fifth, that she should sing like a nightingale. And the sixth, that she should play every kind of music with the utmost skill. It was now the turn of the other fairy, shaking her head in token of spite rather than infirmity. She declared that the princess should prick her hand with a spindle and fall into an eternal slumber. A shudder ran through the company at the terrible gift. All eyes were filled with tears. But at this moment the young fairy stepped forth from behind the tapestry. "Take comfort, your majesties," she cried in a loud voice. "My power, it is true, is not enough to undo all that my kinswoman has decreed. The princess will indeed prick her hand with a spindle, but instead of an eternal sleep, she shall merely fall into a profound slumber that will last 100 years, and at the end of that time a king's son shall come to awaken her."